Lock it. Just give me 1 second. All right. Nice. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thumb. Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashem Yahshua. Priest and Officer 50 Yedaya holding class down till Priest and Officer 1000 Danya Allah gets here. Now, today is the Wednesday night biblical law class. Why are the law, statutes, and commandments important in Israel? Because we come to life as the Lord's chosen people when we keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Paraphrasing Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. But when we leave it, we die. And you see how we die. We die a spiritual death, but we're dying physically out here as well, man. Because our people believe, man, that we don't have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That we don't have to follow after our God. Why? Because we're too busy following after the oppressor. And the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And the oppressor has always been the devil, which is so sad because our people, paraphrasing Romans chapter 10 and verse 2, where it says, I bear a record of them that have a zeal of God, but not in knowledge. What does that mean? You have a zeal according, of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Meaning just because you packed up in them churches don't mean that you're getting the word of the Most High God. Because your pastor is not qualified to teach you. He is not. Our people still don't know who the devil is. And for the time that I have until Officer Danyala gets here, we're going to go into who the devil is real quick. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 25 and verse 22. A lot of our people out there marching and not realizing you out there marching and protesting against the oppressor, and you got the oppressor marching with you. Where do we do that at? Paraphrasing what the Lord said, who can make straight which I have made crooked? A leper can't change his spots. Now, we're about to go into who the devil is. We'll go to Genesis 25, and we're going to start at verse 22. Now, for the context, we'll go up to 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Now, Rebekah, for a while, was barren. She had no children. Isaac is our forefather, and Rebekah is his wife. Now, she conceived. Now she has, she's pregnant. Verse 22 says, and the children struggled together within her, meaning that Rebekah has 2 babies in her. Rebekah got 2 babies, and it says that the children are struggling. Now, reading on, it says, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Rebekah was like, man, these kids is in here causing hell right now. What's going on? Let me go inquire of the Most High God. Now, verse 23 says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 nations, meaning 2 nations of people, 2 forefathers. Let's read on. And 2 manner of people. 2 manner of people, meaning that they are different. 2 nations and 2 different manner of people. I wonder who that's talking about. I wonder who this is talking about. The 2 manner of people, man, is our forefather and the oppressor's forefather. Let's read on. And it says, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the other people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, it's the thing. The Lord is telling Rebekah that 2 manner of people was in her, and they shall be separated from thy bowels. Even though they are brothers, they twins, the Lord is going to separate them from each other. And this is what makes it so important, and our people need to understand. We need to be separate from the oppressor, man. The oppressor is the damn devil that the Bible speaks of. You do not need to be out here marching with this oppressor and thinking you can have peace and unity with him. The Lord said, the 2 manner, paraphrasing the Leviticus, where the Most High severed us from these other nations. The Most High severed us from the oppressor, from the Chinese, from the Asians, from the Arabs. We don't need to be with them. And that's how it was we were in the womb with our oppressor. The Most High separated us. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Ooh, we know who's stronger. It says the elder shall serve the younger. Now let's read. Verse 24 says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And verse 25 says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Now, the first child came out red, like a hairy garment. Red. Now, who asked yourself this question, Israel? Who has red skin? Who's red? The oppressor's red. How do we know this? It's summertime, Israel. We go out there, we chilling. The oppressor go out there, he turned blood red. And when it's cold outside, the oppressor turned pink. He's not really white. He's red. This is Esau. This is his forefather. All over like a hairy garment. I don't know if y'all noticed Israel, but Esau hairy as hell. Esau, man, if he don't shave everything, Esau will look like a goddamn caveman. He do. He is a real caveman. Man, he got hair all in his face, pits, chest, everywhere. And he's red. The Lord is telling us right here in Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25 that the earth came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. Keep that in mind. Esau, the forefather of the oppressor. Now, verse 26, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. Now, when our forefather Jacob came out, he had Esau by the heel. Mind you, they was rumbling in the womb. They was struggling within Rebekah. Man, our forefather Jacob was giving it to Esau. He was in there, giving it to him. That's why, when Esau came out, Jacob was like, no, nigga, I wasn't done with you. You still gonna get this. Now, we're gonna hold that. We're gonna go to 2nd Ezra. We'll come right back to it. We're gonna go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. We're going to start at verse 8. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. We just read that. Now, we just read that. Jacob's hand had Esau's. But that symbolizes something. Symbolizes something so heavy that the oppressor realized. Verse 9 says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of what followed after. That's heavy. That's heavy. The oppressor's world is coming to an end. And our world is going to follow afterwards, man. The oppressor is such a monster, man. That's why the world is in the condition that it's in, the earth. The scriptures say when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And the people are in mourning right now. Now, verse 27 says, and the boys grew, to go back to Genesis. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. No one can tell me, man, that the oppressor is not Esau. The scriptures say that the boys grew and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Who's a cunning hunter to this day? Who's out there hunting all different types of wildlife? Who out there in the sub-Savanna and Sahara in Africa killing elephants and lions and gorillas? A man of the field. When you look at like the hunting shows and the magazines and everything, you see the oppressor. You see Esau holding them giant fish, holding, standing by the corpses of every animal that he can find and kill. He don't just kill animals. That hunting ability that he has, being a man in the field, that don't just translate to animals. That translates to you too, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. You don't believe me? Ask George Floyd. Ask Rashad Brooks. Ask Ahmud Alberry. Your oppressor is a man of the field. He is a cunning hunter. Now we're going to read about Jacob, our forefather. Now it says, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Come on, Israel. We chilling, we playing, showing in the tent. Now I want you to realize this. While Esau is out there killing everything that breathes, because that's what the oppressor does, he was blessed with the sword. He out here killing everything that breathes. We in the crib chilling. You looking out the window like, God damn, man, Esau, he out there. Esau, man, the oppressor out here killing lions. He killed Hammurabi, the gorilla. He killing elephants. Man, Esau done killed the Loch Ness monster. God damn. And then we go back to playing 2K. We go back to playing 2K or whatever. We out here playing the game. That was Jacob. While Esau was out there in the field being a monster, killing everything that moved, Esau was in his tent looking like, man, look at this crazy nigga right here. Look at this bastard. That's all he do is just hunt and kill for fun. He turned it into a sport. Meanwhile, Jacob, Israel, we a playing man. We chilling. We ain't doing all that. We ain't in the way. Nah. Verse 28, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. Man, Isaac, our forefather, he loved Esau, man. He loved the fact that Esau went out there, was a cunning hunter. He bring home his venison, man. He bring home, the lawful meats that he could eat. And Isaac was good with it. But Rebekah, we're going to read on, and it says, and Rebekah loved Jacob. Now, it's not that Rebekah didn't love Jacob. You got to understand, Rebekah went and inquired of the Lord. And the Lord told Rebekah that the elder shall serve the younger. Naturally, Rebekah is going to favor Jacob more because the Lord told her. Naturally, naturally Rebekah is going to favor Jacob more because the Lord told her that the elder is going to serve the younger. Now, for what we just went over, I hope that explains it, but we're going to go a little bit more. Now, we know the oppressor is red and hairy all over. We know he like to go out there and be a wicked bastard in the field, killing everything that breathes and moves. And we know our forefather Jacob, as you know, we chilling in tents, we cool. We're going to read just more about what kind of a bastard and monster Esau is. Now, verse 29 says, and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Meaning Jacob was, chilling, baking pottage, steak and, potatoes, onions, green peppers. He hooking it up right now. Now, Esau came out from the field killing everything that he possibly could, and he getting ready to die. He's faint. He out there, he did so much killing, he's getting ready to fall over and croak. Now, and he said, and it says, and for his name was called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. You gotta understand. Jacob was like, man, sell me this birthright. He said, you want this pottage? Oh, I skipped over verse 30. And Esau said of Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Which goes to show you also the character of Esau, because guess what? Jacob is still cooking the meat. He's still cooking the steak.
Right.
And Esau like, nigga, I don't care if that steak red and bloody, nigga, give me that steak right now. Who eat they steak red and bloody to this day?
Right.
We don't do that. We got to cook our food. We don't eat our food bloody. And that's a sin too. Esau like, man, Jacob, man, give me that red. I want all that. That blood, them blood juices, I need all that. Don't tell Isaac. Don't tell our parents that I want this. But I need it. And Jacob looked at Esau and said, he cannot get the blessing. This nigga cannot rule. Now, verse 31 says, and Jacob said, sell me this birthright. Sell me thy birthright. You want this red pottage so bad? You got to sell me your birthright, bro. You can't, you're not supposed to be eating your food bloody. But if you want it, see how much you really want it. I'll sell me your birthright and I'll give you this red pottage and you can get that. Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what proof shall this birthright do to me? Now he's pleading the fifth. He's like, man, what's it going to do for me? I'm hungry. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. You're not supposed to swear neither, Israel. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Goes to show you what kind of bastard Esau is. Your birthright is to die for. But Esau wanted that red pottage so bad. He wanted that steak rare. You know how Esau get his steak? You know, if y'all work in a restaurant, y'all know. Y'all just take the slab of meat, you get a blowtorch, and they get a little brown, and you give it to him just like that. God damn. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage. Man, he gave me bread, you know what I mean, and lentils. He said, man, get down, man. Eat and drink, go on about your way. And it says, thus Esau despised his birthright, man. Which goes to show you that the Most High knew what kind of evil bastard Esau was from the beginning. He knew Esau was going to do this. He knew when Rebekah went to inquire of him, of the Lord, that what kind of person and what kind of manner of people Esau and Jacob was going to be. That's why I paraphrase it in Malachi and in Romans 9 and 13, for it says, for Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. The oppressor is hated, man. And Jacob, we are loved. We are loved so much, man, that our king, Yahushua Mashiach, who the Lord sent, died for us so we can have a chance. But we have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and we have to have faith in our king, Yahushua Mashiach. And with that being said, I'm priest and officer of 50 Yadai, and I'm going to pass the class off for the priest and officer of 1,000 Danya.
Most High Christ. Most High Christ. Let's get it. Whew. Which is so heavy what you're bringing out too, man, because that's actually, it ties into my topic. Of course, we're the Israelite School of UPK. Started out at 1 West 125th Street under commanding General Yohana. I'm priest and officer of 1,000 Danyala, here teaching the law class. My topic that I wanted to touch on today was separation. On why it's important to separate and how the Most High is serious about separation. Separation meaning what? Us being holy and also us separating from other nations. As y'all see, the brother just went into Jacob and Esau, which is so heavy because throughout this pandemic, throughout the rioting and marching and everything, one thing I noticed is that Israel wants to separate, but Israel is also easy to persuade, and it makes them not want to separate. Like you would get some people that would talk about separating, but then it takes like a Christian pastor, a religious leader. It would take somebody of that sense to come and change the minds, and it'll be so easy. Like we out there on them street corners since 1969, every weekend, you know, weather permitting, teaching the truth. And we got some hard-headed Israelites. They hear what we say, and they would tell us, I believe what you're saying, I just got to do more research. That's exactly what they say. I got to do more research. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to come back and get back to y'all about that. Right. But then when you got these religious leaders, these so-called sports leaders or whatnot come out and they say certain things, people believe it. They don't got to do no research. They believe them. Why? Because this cat that they looking at, you know, and listening to look like $1 million. But these niggas on the street corners, look at the goddamn van they pulled up in. It's 2015. Look at their boots. They judging us off of that. Boots shining and everything. We looking glorious. But just based off of that, it's just like, I cannot listen to a nigga that's dressed like that. I've never dressed like that a day in my life, not even on Halloween, some people say. Versus this Christian pastor, he got on a suit, and you wear a suit every time you go to court. Why? Because you believe that's going to help you get off. Like the judge going to say, yeah, you committed the murder, but the suit going to take 20 years off. In our mind, we easily persuade to believe that, which is why we got to separate from America and separate from the customs and the traditions and the beliefs that America push on us as of, you know, today. Once we're able to separate from that, Israel could be a nation. Throughout all the scriptures, when you look at any captivity Israel been in, when we came out of that captivity, what was one of the number one things the Most High required from us is to not follow any other God or any other nation, not to take part in any other nation or any other, custom that the nation we were under, not to come out of that captivity living like that nation we was under. The Most High wanted us to separate. Even us dealing with captivity, the Most High wanted us to separate in our captivity. That's why it's so heavy when I see some movies come out and some quotes come out where people are, like I seen a quote from the movie Black Panther, where Killmonger said, it's better that I might be quoting it wrong, but somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm going to paraphrase it. He said, it's better to swim. Go ahead.
Killmonger, if I could, sir. Killmonger said, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors, something like that. Well, he said, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that realized death was more honorable than being a slave.
Right. Bury me in the oceans with my ancestors where they realized death was better than bondage. That's why when I see that, I understand that, because that's what the Most High require of us. Separation. Even in captivity, he requires separation. Yeah, you in captivity, but I don't want you living like these heathens. We was in captivity in Egypt, and guess what? The Most High made a law for us to not live like the Egyptians.
Right.
Don't live like the Egyptians. We captivity in America, so what the Most High require? Not to live like the Americans. Are we not in captivity today? The proof we're in captivity today is that Juneteenth come around, when they make it a holiday, we get happy. As if that solidifies anything. We're still marching, as of to this day, Black Lives Matter. You want to know why we got to march and say Black Lives Matter? Because black people feel oppressed to the point they got to say, if we're not slaves, you got to tell us our life matter. And they still won't tell you your life matter, which means what? You're a slave. You're a slave. Even in captivity, the Most High requires you to still keep his laws. It's no excuse to sit here and say, well, we in captivity. That's no excuse. Nowhere in the scriptures where the Most High say, if you're in captivity under another nation, you're allowed to break certain laws. No. When you in captivity, the Most High still require you to keep the traditions, the high holy days. He still require you to keep the laws. In captivity, getting your back whipped. What's the proof? Real quick. What's the proof? The Maccabees. The sister and her 7 sons was facing death. And they could have lived if they chose the traditions and the ways of the heathens. But they did not. Why? Because that mother understood the Most High required her to keep the laws no matter the captivity she was in. So what happened? She chose death to be thrown in the ocean rather to be, alive, living with the sellouts. Nah. Go ahead. You had your hand up?
I was going to say, sir, you bring out so heavy. I remember sister told me, you guys, we don't have to observe the Passover because we're in captivity. But I was like, well, when was there a time when we was in captivity where we didn't keep the Passover?
Listen, that is heavy because throughout all history, you have the Qumran caves, you have the catacombs, more so, where brothers would run and hide from Roman persecution, and they would dig 6 feet, 18 feet tunnels in the ground where they would create those same catacombs as of today are libraries what America made. America made those same, catacombs, libraries, where they went down in and they found records and they found artifacts of brothers who was running from Roman persecution, and they would choose and dig certain holes in the ground where they would hold classes at teaching the Bible. Headpieces on and everything. The same headpiece you see we got on today, these brothers was 6 feet, 12, 18 feet in the ground with looking exactly how we look today, teaching the Bible, running from Roman persecution. And doing what? Keeping the Passover, keeping Hanukkah, keeping Purim. They are in the ground keeping these certain traditions. Why? Because they understood no matter what condition you was in, the Most High required you to keep it. It's a law to everything. It's a law to keep it. It's a law to keep it if the time comes and something happened and you can't keep it. It's a way around it. The Most High requires you to keep his law, statutes, and commandments, his high holy days and everything, regardless of what you're going through. There's no excuse why you shouldn't keep the Passover because of the pandemic. Well, it's a law in the scriptures that show you how to keep it even through a pandemic. You should keep the Passover. There's no excuse, man. Point blank period. Through our captivities, the Most High requires you to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. And that's exactly what you have to do, regardless of the condition of the situation. Because to get out of that condition or the situation, you have to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. So, what we're going to do, let me see. I'm about to send you this story real quick, all right? I want you to pull this up. I'm about to send you this story real quick. Pull this up, because when I read this was heavy. And I actually got this story because I know a brother who's actually a part of the National Guard. And he's out there, patrolling, and he was out there doing that. And he actually posted this story. And when he posted this story, and when he, when I seen it, I sat there and I said, listen, I'm using this because this is a perfect example to go into my topic. If you could pull it up on the screen too, Bubba Kashaw, I want everybody in class to see this. I want everybody in class to see this, man. He was patrolling on the street with the M16 and all them big guns and everything. But look, man, there haven't been a better time where we should separate and come together as a nation. Let the Hebrew speak, read the same scripture. If you could, Bubba Kashaw, pull up the scripture. I know you know about the come out of her, my people. Let the Hebrew speak. Big ups to General Haas and Captain Akkad. They read the scripture at the beginning of every Let the Hebrew speak. Because this is a time where this is, listen, when you hear this, you're going to understand what this class is about today. This scripture applies to today. Every year, this scripture applies. Listen, I totally understand this now that we are in these times. Read the scripture.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying.
Go ahead, read that. No, the scripture. I think the one I was looking for is Zephaniah. This is a good one too. Read this one too. So read this one now.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people."
The voice in heaven. What was the voice in heaven? The Most High. Saying, come out of her, my people. Why? The Most High, just like I said, at the end of every captivity, the Most High requires you to separate and get rid of the traditions that you was following in captivity that got you in that situation in the first place. So the Most High say, come out of her, my people. The Most High wants you to come out of America, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Venezuela. He wants you to come out of them. He wants you to come out of whatever captivity you in, whatever country you are in being oppressed, the Most High wants you to come out of. Why? Because he knows the reason you're in the situation you're in is because following the customs and traditions of wherever you was at. You're not in your homeland. Anywhere outside of your homeland, listen, come out of her. The Most High, that's what the Most High is telling you. Read.
My people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues.
Listen, ye be not, and this is perfect, man. This is perfect. Ye be not partakers in her sins and receive none of her plagues. Don't be partakers in America's sins, such as what? Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, birthdays, Easter, so forth and so on. President's Day, you name it. You know, don't be partakers of her sin. You don't want to let America put a sin on you and you follow it because you believe it's a tradition, it's the right thing to do, when you're really just being a partaker in her sin. The Most High is saying, listen, come out of her. Don't deal with America so you won't be partakers in her sins. Read. Or partakers in her, what's that, the sins? And be partakers in her plagues. You don't want to deal with her plagues. Coronavirus. You don't want to deal with HIV. You don't want to deal with, and listen, this is the crazy thing to say, right? Like Africa, right? Africa, all them countries that's you know, the 10 cents today you see coming on TV. America have a higher AIDS rate than those type of foreign countries where it's just thousands of poor people. Thousands of poor people. You don't want to be partakers in her plague. Swine flu, regular flu, coronavirus. And you talking about a second wave. A lot of states that opened up is closing right back down. The Most High is opening up, giving y'all a little fun and closing it right back down. You don't want to be a part of the plagues that the Most High is putting on America. Read.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Verse 6.
Her sins have reached unto heaven. Meaning what? Her sins is, first of all, for somebody's sins to reach into heaven, that's a metaphor, man. That's to just like, that's the same as somebody saying, yo, meet me here at 10 o'clock, and you show up 10, 15, 10, 20. When you get there, the person going to say, yo, man, you had me waiting all day. You had me waiting forever. You really haven't had them waiting forever. They just giving a metaphor on how you had them waiting for a long time. And the Most High, like, yo, your sins reach unto heaven. Meaning what? We here on earth. Heavens is up there in the sky. Think about how much sins you have to commit to stack on top of each other to reach up into the heavens. That's a lot. And the Most High is saying, look, your sins reach unto heaven. Read.
And God has remembered her iniquities.
And he going to remember America's iniquities. Read.
God, verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you.
We going to drop that. That's going into something else. We going to get into this story real quick. I want you to read this topic to this story, man. So like it? I think Zephaniah. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. 2 and 3 or something like that. It might have been. Yep. Oh. Yeah, 2 and 1. All right. Cool. You can read the story. You can hold that one too.
Soldier charged with providing information to white supremacist occult group to ambush his own unit.
Read that again. Listen to this clearly, you guys. Read that again.
Soldier charged with providing information to white supremacist occult group to ambush his own unit.
Listen, a soldier was charged with providing information to a white supremacist occult group to ambush his own unit. Why do you think he was providing this white supremacist group with information to ambush his unit? Somebody tell me why. Why do they think that? If somebody online Type it in if anybody in the room. It's like, I know you know.
I ain't read the story.
So real quick, before I give you Daya a shot, I'm gonna let somebody in the class or in the that's on the online class type it in. Why do you think this soldier was providing information to a white supremacist cult group to ambush his unit? Why do you think he wanted his unit ambushed? I'm gonna give y'all 1 to 2 minutes to answer. Mr. Lucky, can you give me 2 red cups? Yeah. Well, yeah, and one of them, can you just put some soda or juice in it, whichever back there, and the other one empty? Go out. So I'm gonna give y'all time to type in. Why do you think he was providing information to the white supremacist group to ambush to white supremacist cult? Let me make that known. To ambush his unit. Why do y'all think he was providing it? What was going on with his unit, or what was something about his unit that made him want to provide them information to ambush his unit? Somebody type it in if you could, Baba Kashab. If not, I'm gonna let the brother answer. It's real simple. You don't have to think deep. Listen, it's real simple. It's everyday life. I think it's interesting. Salaki. Go ahead, you can do it. Somebody type it in. Somebody type it in. Christopher Jordan, that was an excellent scripture you post too. That was an excellent scripture you post. That was perfect on topic too. Christopher Jordan, that was perfect on topic. The water. Nobody want to type it in? When the brother come back, I'm gonna give him a shot. Somebody type it in online. Let me know when you get back online. When you look online, if there's anybody that typed it in. Is there any strong back there?
Oh, okay.
Ah, cool. And you can help yourself if you want. I mean, he's like, I already know, so you gotta tell me twice. Most High Christ. So type it in. I'm gonna give y'all 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Why do you think this soldier, which was an oppressor, was giving information to this white supremacist cult group to ambush his unit? Okay, he stepped back and looked at his unit and noticed something. He noticed something to the point that made him want to give information to a white supremacist group. Now, the article is labeled them white supremacists. They was the KKK. Let's be real. I'm going to say white supremacists because that's the name that the article used. What did he sit back and realize that it was something about his unit that needed to be ambushed? No. Any questions, comments that anybody want to make online? Type them in. The brother going to read them out and notify me that somebody online has a question. If not, we're going to move on. Did anybody online answer the question? Okay, so you had your hand up. You want to read it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I could. He looked at it too. So
listen, and that's correct. He looked at his unit and said, "There's too many niggas in here. And them niggas might have been talking about the injustice of George Floyd. Jamal Jose, Trayvon Martin. Those niggas was on his unit talking about a lot of black people who died at the hands of police officers that was unlawful. And he said, you know what? I gotta contact somebody to to kill these niggas. Read this title one more time. I want the people out there to really hear this. Read this title one more time.
Soldier charged with providing information to white supremacist OFO group to ambush his own unit.
By the information. So they can ambush the unit, doing what? Killing all the blacks. Which is another reason why we should separate. We should not be in Esau military. We should not be in an oppressor military fighting for something when even in a goddamn, listen, you stand there for something. You believe. You believe what you're doing is right. You're going to go fight and serve your country. You're not even safe there. You got to go to sleep knowing now that one of these oppressors in this room might have given information to a white supremacist group to come in here and kill every nigga while they sleeping. And America's military, this is what's happening. Do you think this was the first time this happened? Why do you think this is coming out now? Because of the time we in. They released this to make America seem great.
Right.
America can't be that bad. They are punishing white people who are giving information to white supremacists to kill black people. Do you honestly think the hundreds of years America had a military, this was the first case that they didn't had of a oppressor giving out information to come kill black people? No. Why do you think this is coming out now? Because of the time we in, the rioting, the George Floyd, everything that's happening now as of today. This is the perfect time to put this article out to make niggas go back to sleep again and love America. Well, America can't be that bad if they punishing white soldiers who was giving out information to kill black people. No. If you talk to some of these soldiers that been on these units and in these platoons, they would tell you this is 1 in a million of situations that happen. This is nothing new. So don't get fooled by thinking this is the first case that the army then found and cracked down on. No, they didn't crack down on hundreds of thousands of cases. But guess what? They kept it secretive just so the military won't look bad, and they don't want to give their enemies any type of ammo against them. Why are they releasing it now? Because of the time we in. George Floyd, the protesting. They want to make the masses feel comfortable and make them feel like America is doing something about the injustice that's going on. A sister just came up missing in the military, and they can't find her. And now an article comes out yesterday about them punishing a soldier who giving out information. Come on, man. Let's read some of the article.
A U.S. Army soldier has been charged with terrorism-related offenses for allegedly planning to ambush his own unit
Go ahead, Salah.
By passing along sensitive information to a neo-Nazi UFO group.
Listen, let me let y'all know something. When I read the title of this story, I didn't even read the story because the title told me everything that I needed to know. So earlier, before we went into this story, I mentioned it had to be the KKK that had something to do with this. And I was right. The neo-Nazis, it had to be some type of group. And I was right. Why? Because when you separate from America, you start to see it for what it is. You start to see all the BS and everything that goes on. You start to understand more. When you separate from America and come into the ISUPK, it's a lot more you start to understand. Just by me reading the title, I can tell what it's about. I haven't read this story, but I told you about the whole story before I read it. It's just that simple, man. Read.
Ethan Melzer, 22, is charged with conspiring and attempting to murder U.S. nationals, conspiring and attempting to murder military service members, providing and attempting to provide material support to terrorists, conspiring to murder and maim in a foreign country. The Department of Justice said Melzer confessed to planning the attack to the result in the deaths of many of his fellow service members as possible.
And listen, to result in the death of many of his fellow service members as possible. What race you think those fellow service? Listen, he probably was the only oppressor in a unit full of black people. Full of black people. And the oppressor is so damn evil, the 2-3 of other oppressors that was on his unit would have died too, just cause. That's how evil he is. All you oppressors that's gonna laugh in the face of these niggers, y'all gonna die with them. So guess what? As many people as possible on his unit is gonna have to die. Read.
Melzer, a private, enlisted in the U.S. Army in December of 2018 and joined the Order of the Nine Angles, 09A, in 2019. The Justice Department the Justice Department described members of the group as espousing violent neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, and satanic beliefs, and claimed their expressed admiration for both Nazi and such as Adolf Hitler and Islamic jihadists, including Osama bin Laden. Members of the group have participated in acts of violence, including murder. Audrey Strauss, the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, described Melzer, originally from Louisville, Kentucky, as an enemy within. Melzer allegedly attempted to orchestrate a murderous ambush on his own unit by unlawfully revealing its location, strength, and arrangements to a neo-Nazi anarchist white supremacist group, Strauss said in a statement.
Listen, it's a reason why when we do the prayers, right? We ask the Most High to bring death upon, and then we start reading out the name. Aryan Nation, Skinhead, Posse Kamikaze, KKK, all them is mentioned. He's given information based on how strong his unit is, where the guards is at, how they can get through, to come through and destroy his unit, to go take over in a foreign country. Listen, the white man's the devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do or say to change my mind whatsoever. There's nothing. There's nothing. These stories is not made up. These are not made up stories sitting there somehow, sitting from somebody that's, at home on a laptop and computer just writing up just random stories just to make up. Nah, these are real life stories. I have a relative that is in the National Guard in the U.S. military as of today who confirmed these stories. He confirmed them. They hear them before we do. And they get released to us weeks later. And I call, listen, what's going on? And he confirmed it, and then I come to class and teach it. Because before I even mentioned that I have a story on it, I ask him, I heard about this, that, and the third. And when he tell me, it's like, okay, that links up with the story. I'm gonna go talk about it. He's in the Army. Read on.
The Department of Justice said the FBI and the U.S. Army thwarted Melzer's plot in late May, and he was arrested on June 10th. According to the Justice Department, Meltzer deployed abroad in October 2019. Prior to planning the attack, he allegedly consumed propaganda from multiple extremist groups, including O9A and ISIS. In April 2020, Meltzer was informed of another deployment by his unit and then allegedly sought to facilitate a deadly attack on his fellow service members, the Justice Department said. After he was notified of his deployment, he allegedly used encrypted communications to share with O9A and a related group called Great WAP.
Read that again?
Called Great WAP Division.
And listen, all the justice departments and whatnot, I don't want people to get fooled. Those justice departments and divisions and everything was made for Negroes. Oppressors don't need justice for nothing. Something happened, they get down to the bottom of it and they find out. Negroes, and when I say Negroes, I mean Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the only ones who go with the unsolved case. Those justice departments and divisions are made for Negroes. And then they got a rape division. Because there's a lot of raping going on in the Army since they let women join, and transsexuals and homosexuals. There's a lot of rapings that go on with the oppressor. But read on.
Meltzer and his co-conspirators allegedly planned what they called a jihad attack with the objective of creating a mass casualty event.
A jihad attack, so I'm assuming he was Ishmael. Doing it for Islam, for a country. It's all the same, man. Read.
Around May 17, Meltzer allegedly exchanged electronic communications about passing along information to a person he believed was a member of Al-Qaeda. Between May 24th and May 25th, he allegedly shared information about his unit's plan and deployment and promised to share more. The order of the 9 angles is organization. The combination of Nazi Satanism, extreme violence, and sexual abuse makes it particularly troubling, and action needs to be taken to prevent them from grooming and radicalizing other people, Clark said.
Extreme what? What did it say at the extreme?
Oh God, extreme violence and sexual abuse.
Now they hiding that behind religion, but that's the natural culture and just the natural state of the oppressor. Yep. They just want to rape, rob, and murder. Mm-hmm. They don't need no religion behind it. They use religion to get the people to listen, and then they creep in and rape you. Satanism, Christianity, Islam, all the same. It's no different. It's no different. Read. That was it on that story? Get me the story in Exodus, right? Let me go to it real quick. Okay, the story in Exodus, right? The story in Egypt. I'm sorry. Matter of fact, before we go into that, give me first Esdras 9 and 7. And then whole Exodus, where they was given the land of Goshen, because to be a sheep, to deal with the sheep was an abomination. In the book of Exodus. Whichever one you get first, just read. Whichever one. Either one is good. God.
First Esdras chapter 9 and verse 7. So Esdras arose up and said unto them, ye have transgressed the law in marrying strange wives, thereby to the increase of the sins of Israel.
Okay. All right, read the story in Exodus. That might go on more with this topic. Go ahead.
First and second Ezra. This is the same Ezra in the so-called Old Testament, right?
Yeah, because the Apocrypha is the Old Testament.
Okay, so that Ezra is the same as the Ezra as Ezra.
Oh, okay, in the Old Testament.
Ezra. So I'm asking, this is Ezra.
It's the same as the one in the Old Testament.
It's the same priest and prophet.
Okay, in what book are you reading?
The book of Ezra.
No. It's different.
So Ezra and Ezra is 50 tribes.
It's two different people. Yep. So give me the story of Egypt,
Oh, paraphrase it.
where it talks about the Goshen, the land of Goshen. Goshen is definitely in there.
Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So about Exodus 8 and 22.
Yep, pull that. Let me see what that says.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 8, verse 22. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall be this sign be.
Somebody outside?
No.
All right, I'm gonna find first.
And I will put a division.
Hold on. Genesis 46 and 34. Read that. Let me see. That might be it.
Genesis 36.
46 and 34.
Come on, God, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 46 and verse 34. That ye shall say, thy servants' trade hath been about cattle from our youth, even unto now. Both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
Right. Read 31.
Verse 31. And Joseph said unto his brethren, and unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say unto him, my brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me.
Now, even Joseph was saying, listen, I'm going to go unto Pharaoh, who was the ruler of Egypt at that time, and say, listen, my father, my brother, and my father's house has come unto me. They came unto me asking me for help because it was a famine dealing at this time. Read. Or is it a question online? So I can? What did it say?
It says India is watching.
India is watching? Like the country? I hope so. Read on. Right. That's funny.
And the men are shepherds, for their trade had been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they had. Verse 33. And it shall come to pass.
So listen, he gonna come unto Pharaoh and say, listen, my father and my brethren come unto me, and they do trade with the shepherd and the flock. That's all that they had. Read.
Verse 33. And it shall come to pass when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, what is your occupation?
Pharaoh gonna call you one day and ask you, yo, what you do for a living? And this is what you tell him. Read.
Oh God, that ye say thy servant's trade hath been about cattle from our youth.
You gonna say, listen, we've been doing cattle from the youth. We've been dealing with the cattle from a baby, from a young boy. Read.
Oh God. Both we, until now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen.
He's saying, listen, tell him this, so us and our father be able to dwell in the land of Goshen. Read.
Oh God, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians.
Every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptian. So he knew every person that was a shepherd was an abomination unto the Egyptians. So what did that mean? if we tell Pharaoh this, we'll be able to be separate from the Egyptians. Separation. This is what Joseph understood. He understood separation. The Most High did not want them to be, mingled or be together with any nation. So he came up with a whole plan to be separate from the Egyptians. That's exactly what Joseph did. Go ahead. Somebody say something online?
Yeah, he talking about native Indians. He's talking about like ISUPK talking about pray for Indian mission work. Good night.
Read on. Pray for Indian mission. I mean, ain't they over there with 6 legs? And long, listen, this is long necks and all that. Listen, you need to pray to Shiva for that. That's what you need to pray to. Hopefully Shiva will help you with those 6 legs and them tails them babies be born with. Read on.
Oh, God. This is look at Genesis chapter 47 and verse 1. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, my father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds, all that they have come out of the land of Canaan. Behold, they are in the land of Goshen.
Right.
And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, what is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, that thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers.
They told Pharaoh exactly what Joseph told them to tell him. Read.
Coming about verse 4. They said, moreover unto Pharaoh, for to sojourn in the land we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks. For the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let our servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee. The land of Egypt is before thee, in the best of the land, make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen, let them dwell.
Listen, Joseph understood separation. That is what we need today in America. We need separation. Once we separate from America, we don't partake in her plagues and we don't partake in her sins. And Israel will be able to live how we always live. But, unfortunately, we got to see the Most High bad side, evil side. The Most High know what the hell he doing, man. He know what he talking about. We here just relaying a message. We here just relaying a message, and we trying to get you to just come into the truth. You can't even go into America's military. You can't even go to help America. You can't be a Negro or Hispanic or Native American who want to help America, so you join the military. You're not even safe there. There's going to be some oppressor that's on your unit that's going to provide a white skinhead or an Al-Qaeda group, however you say that. I can't even pronounce that right. I ain't even going to try. Al-Qaeda, however you say that. One of those groups, provide them with information to come kill you while you sleep. No, you're not even safe in the military. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It's sick, man. We're going to grab one. We're going to get another story. Get me the North Carolina meat processing plant.
Coronavirus. North Carolina meat processing plants at least 28 have more than 2,700 cases. The number of infected workers at meat processing plants in North Carolina has grown to at least 2,702. The State Department of Health and Human Services COVID-19 are in 28 plants spread across 21 counties. That includes the Smithfield plant in Tar Heel. DHHS so far has only named the total of cases and plants and the names of the counties it has refused, despite public records, requests from the Valley Journal, and possibly others to name. Number of people at DHHS is aware that are infected at the Smithfield food plants in Tar Heel, that the name of each meat processing company in the city and county, and number of people infected at each plant.
Mm-hmm.
DHHS has previously said it believes its numbers to be low because the plants are under federal regulation rather than reporting to the state.
Mm-hmm. Which is one reason why I wanted to bring out this story is because earlier into a few months ago, we started going into a lot of stories that consist of a lot of these plant-based factories or these plant factories who produce most of the meat that we get. A lot of the employees and co-workers and meat have been coming up with the coronavirus. So I wanted to bring out this story because this ties in perfect with why we should separate from America, which later I'm going to get into, some scriptures on separating and not being a part of America to go along with what I'm saying. But read on. Salaka? Go ahead. You can read that, whichever one you got.
Tyson and Smithfield and others now under Senate scrutiny for pork exports.
You said Tyson and Smithfield. That was perfect. Because we went into that. We went into Tyson and Smithfield. They are the two biggest distributors in America for pork and, pork and seafood?
Pork, chicken, beef, everything, but it's just the pork and the seafood.
And listen, pork and the seafood. Listen, read the meat of it, read the juice.
Additional investigations into meatpacking and company practices the COVID-19 pandemic are now looming for Tyson Foods, along with privately held Smith Food Foods, JBS Foods, International, and Cargill. The U.S. Senate scrutiny centers alleged actions taken in the pork market, including shipping large quantities of the meat to China during the coronavirus outbreak, while ratcheting up prices for American consumers.
Read that again. Read that again. God damn, I love it when we say something weeks ahead and then they come out with an article. It just makes y'all feel more dumb because y'all rather listen to them than us. What happened when they saying the same thing we're saying? Ooh-wee, read.
During the COVID-19 pandemic are now looming for Tyson Foods, along with privately held Smithfield Foods, JBS Foods, International, and Cargill. The U.S. Senate scrutiny centers on alleged actions taken in the pork market, including shipping large quantities of the meat to China during the coronavirus outbreak, while ratcheting up prices for American consumers. Senator Cory Booker, a New Jersey Democrat, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, sent a letter to each of the four companies stating that the meat packers exported a combined 1.3 billion pounds of pork and beef starting from March 20th into June. Addressing leading executives of the company, the senators questioned their honesty with the American public reasons for higher food prices and for the commitment for providing safe and affordable and abundant food supply for the nation.
March to June, that's what, 3 months? 3 billion pounds? So that's what, like 1 billion pounds a month? Of pork? Which we've been telling y'all to stay away from. And y'all didn't say things like y'all gonna eat pork no matter what, as long as y'all pray over it. That's y'all belief and tradition. Now, Tyson and Smithfield is facing some heavy backlash. And we went into this. And I talked about this. We went into stories. And I talked about this on how, listen, it's going to get worse. Stay away from that pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Because that's what we went into, man. And now we're reading the story. Weeks later. Read.
The investigation targets two areas of the meatpackers' response to COVID-19. One is why the company claimed that the American meat supply was cracked at approximately the same time when they were sending over 100,000 tons of meat overseas to China. Simultaneously, an alleged meat shortage occurred, causing prices to rise by more than 3% in the U.S. toward the end of April. The other part of the investigation put the spotlight on the conditions that are left and your workers and supply chains vulnerable to the COVID-19 pandemic, which according to the letter, which adds that the companies use a prospect of food shortages to secure a federal license to put workers in harm's way, referring to the presidential executive order to keep meat packing plants open.
Read that again.
The other part of the investigation put the spotlight on the conditions that left your workers and the supply chain vulnerable to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the letter, which asked the companies use the prospect of food shortages to secure a federal license to put your workers in harm's way, referring to the presidential executive order to keep meat packing plants open.
Put the workers in harm's way. Listen, what Trump say not too long ago? He said the coronavirus numbers are high, so the only way to keep them low is to just stop testing people. He said, listen, if y'all want to keep the numbers down, just stop testing people. Like if you stop testing people, then people ain't going to know if they got it or not, so they can work and work and work. But he really just said, listen, just stop testing people if you want to get the numbers down. You want to put your workers in harm's way, just keep your jobs open. Had a worker still come in, tell them they're going to face penalties if they don't come in. The white man's the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
For you to hear stories and stories like this and to still want to be a part of them, for you to not hear a story like this and say to yourself, I gotta separate. I mean, more of us is waking up and understanding that, especially a lot of celebrities are coming out saying and realizing that they gotta separate. But how long that's gonna last? You gotta be serious. I don't look at none of them like they serious. You gotta be serious to want to separate. Separate and come out of her, my people. That's the only way we can defeat any of this. We done tried every single thing possible under the sun since the beginning of time. Since the first captivity, everything we doing today is nothing new, we've been doing back then. Which shows what? We have to try something else. And maybe this something else that we try might be the way. Maybe there's something else that we try gotta be something that we never wanted to try because we just didn't like how, they was coming off. We didn't like how it was being presented. They was yelling too much. They was too militant. Maybe you gotta listen to the militant niggas. Maybe for once you gotta give those militant niggas a chance. Just for once. Those niggas that told you what you was doing was wrong and the Lord was gonna kill you for it, maybe you should go listen to them. Why? Because this might be the only and last chance we have at having a shot at getting out of this situation. And guess what? You come into the ISUPK, you're gonna realize that that last shot that you decide to give to try something different was worth it. It was worth it. I'm going to take this last shot and this last hope, because after this is death. I got to wild out. Once you finally hit that brick wall to realize I have to try something other than this, which means I have to try something that I would never think I would do in a million years, you're going to realize it was the best decision you ever made. It was the best decision. Is there any more? Let's get it.
More than 11,000 cases of COVID-19 were tied to Tyson Foods, Smithfield Foods, and JBS plants as of May.
Read that one more time.
More than 11,000 cases of COVID-19 were tied to Tyson Foods, Smithfield Foods, and JBS plants as of May.
As of May, we in June. And more than 11,000 cases have been tied to Tysonfield, Smithfield, and what was the last one?
JBS.
JBS, as of May, which are the biggest providers in pork and seafood in America. More than 11,000 cases been provided since May. It's about like a month and some change. A month and a half, not that much. More than that been provided. 11,000? That's a lot. God damn. And we still in June. Like a week left. Listen, this is exactly why you should separate. This is exactly why. That's a lie. Is there any more? That was it? All right. So, get me Psalms 106 and 34.
Get coming.
Uh, 34.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen.
Read one verse above it. Yeah, one verse. Read 32.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 32. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his spirit, so they spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen, and learned their works.
They was mingled among the heathen, man. Came out of slavery in Egypt and was mingled among the heathen, and learned their works. They learned their works, which the Most High don't want you to do. Read.
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
And they served their idols. Who was their idols that they served? Go ahead.
All day done.
Yup, the heathen idols. Whatever idols that they worship, that's who Israel served. They mingle with the heathens and they serve their idols. Read.
Yea, they sacrifice their sons and their daughters unto devils.
They sacrifice their sons and their daughters unto devils. Read.
And shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works.
How was they defiled with their own works? They sat there and they joined and was mingled unto these heathens. The own works that they was doing that defiled them was the works that they were doing that they learned from the heathens. They learned the works of these heathens. And because they was following the works of these heathens, guess what? They started to defile themselves. Give me Jeremiah 10:2. They started to defile themselves. They defiled themselves because they was living like the heathens. And the Most High require you not to follow anybody's ways except for the ways he presented for you to follow. If it didn't come from him, he didn't want you to follow it.
Right.
But us as a nation, we went into captivity, came out of captivity, and we just seem to still carry on these traditions of whatever nation we was under. And it was consequences behind that. The Most High didn't like that. Read the scripture.
Come on, let's look at Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
The Most High said, learn not the way of the heathen. Don't learn what the heathens do. Why? Because the Most High hates it. He hates it. He hates what the heathens do. They do everything wrong and they do everything that's against him. So he tell you, learn not the way of them. Read.
Come. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. One of the ways that the heathens got, they dismayed at the signs of heaven. They look up at the stars and they want to tell astrology. They want to say because you was born in September, you a hoe and like to have sex a lot. That's how they determine. You was born in May, you can't be trusted. You was born in April, you're a heartfelt person. And come on, man. They look at the heavens and they go off of that. The Most High say, don't be dismayed at the heaven. And even with this whole new moon Sabbath that these other so-called Israelite groups be, partaking in, man, that's being dismayed at the signs of heaven. That's being dismayed at the signs of heaven. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you too, sir. I'm going to ask you part too. Why do they say that? I had a brother tell people, y'all follow the real Sabbath. You're not looking at the moon, brother. You're going to wait 30 days for the new moon. But I said, well, brother, the Lord said the seventh day.
See, they looking at some of them believe they can look at the moon and, okay, because General Mayak he's an expert in this, where the moon do tell you when it's a new month. So when you see it, this the moon, is this, you about like a weekend, 2 weeks, you halfway through. So based on the sighting of the moon and how much it's showing, you can tell. A lot of them don't understand that. So they would see a half moon and they would automatically feel like, okay, we halfway through the month. They would see a full moon and that's a new month. So they think every full moon means that's a new moon. But never in the scriptures it was told we should worship or celebrate the new moon. And that's what they believe. They believe when they see a full moon, that means it's a new month, which means we got to celebrate, which is just their misunderstanding of the scriptures and just their lack of learning. They see something and based off of, they see new moon in the scriptures and then they see a full moon. Oh, that's a whole new moon because I just seen a half a moon. I seen 2 quarters. I seen 1 quarter. I seen 2 quarters. I seen 3/4. Now I see a new moon. Oh, we got to worship it. Based off of their lack of understanding. So a lot of them feel like every new moon we got to throw a damn feast or something. When that's what the heathens did.
Right.
The heathens seen the full moon, and that's where a lot of the fairy tales come from, like the wolf hollering at the moon and all that. All that comes from heathen customs and traditions, which is why the Most High said, learn not the way of the heathens. Because he knew that 2,000 years from now, somebody is going to say we should worship the moon because it's full, which is basically what they doing. They worshiping a full moon. That's all these so-called Israelites are doing is worshiping a full moon. That's all. You got to throw a feast every time the moon is whole in the sky. You worshiping a full moon. But that's their lack of understanding to understand that. We see a full moon in the sky. It's just a new month. That's how we able to track time and find out the when the Passover is.
Right.
And they know that. That's why a lot of them have their Passovers when we have it. So it's just their lack of understanding and not knowing the scriptures. They see new moon and then they see a full moon. They know that's a new moon because it's not half no more. We gotta do something.
Come on.
So go ahead. Was that it?
Come on, go on.
Most High Christ. I ain't the bar. So read on.
Come on. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
The heathen is dismayed at them. The heathen are dismayed at the signs of heaven. The heathens look up in the heavens and look for a sign. They look for a new moon. The heathens look for sun. They look for stars. Because they believe based off of that is a God talking to them. They believe that star that's shining so bright is a God trying to direct them somewhere. The Most High is saying, don't be dismayed at that. Read.
Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cut of a tree out of the forest.
Listen, the custom of the people are vain. The custom of these people who believe in this is vain. You throwing the feast every time the moon is new is what? What the hell? What is that doing? That means nothing. But they want to do it. Why? Because they are holier than thou. They just like the Muslims that pray out in the street. Listen, we doing this every month. Why y'all not doing it? The scriptures say new moon. They come up with all these customs and traditions, which is really not new. Right. They just following after heathens' customs and traditions. That's all they doing. What you doing is not new. You just following after something that was always done. Read.
For one cut of a tree out of the forest, the work of
Go back to Psalms 106. Yeah. 106 and start at 39. That's where you
Book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 39. Thus they were defiled with their own works and went a whoring with the other inventions. And went a whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance. And he gave them into the hand of the heathen, and they that hated them ruled over them.
They that hated them. When the Most High got somebody rolling over you, just know that they hate you. That's what the scriptures is telling you. Donald Trump hates you. I don't even think I even had to say that for people to even realize that. Like, black people, as of today, feel like if you don't feel like Donald Trump hate black and Mexicans, then you are cool. But they don't realize that Barack Obama hated you too.
Right.
George Bush, Bill Clinton, Abraham Lincoln, who you think freed your ancestors, they all hated you. That's what black people don't understand. The Most High is letting you know. Read it again.
And gave them into the hand of the heathen.
He gave you into the hands of a heathen. Read.
And they that hated them ruled over them.
And these heathens that hate you, they're going to rule over you. They're going to rule over you. So how can you possibly think that Donald Trump loves you when you got Mexican children that's in cages still to this day? In cages. In slavery. That's jail. They're separated from their families and put in cages, which is jail. Your family can't come and see you and do any of that. You are put in jail if you are Issacharite, you are a Mexican. You are put in jail, and that's what Donald Trump do. He rip you away from your family for something he think you did or a way you are. He believe you're this way, so you got to go. So guess what? You're going to be somewhere begging for food Even though they're going to feed you, you're not going to be, you're not going to like the food they're giving you. So you're going to be somewhere in the cage begging for help and justice. That's no different than Negroes because we're all the same. Go ahead. You had your hand up?
What you bring out is so heavy, sir. There's too many. I noticed this week, there's a lot of our people that like to say, I know you heard it, seen it on before too, sir, where they say, the 12 tribes of Israel was on Judah, Hispanic, they're not our people. But as you just said, it just dropped my memory, sir. What goes on with our Hispanic brothers and sisters, particularly the tribe of Issachar, that's Deuteronomy 28 and 32 right there. You don't have to go back. I know what happened to us during slavery, but it's happening to them right here in 2020, sir.
Right. It's happening to them 2020. It happened to them with the conquistadors. It happened to them with the Spaniards.
Right.
It just happened to them all over the world.
Right.
Like, how do you think you got to that island?
Right.
You liked it and just discovered it and just thought it was beautiful and just wanted to live there? No. How did we get to any island? Because we liked it? Oh, I like the trees over there, so we go. No, you were sent there by your oppressors. And the Most High is letting you know, yeah, you're going through a captivity under these people, but I still don't want you to follow their customs or traditions. I want you to die if they try to make you do it.
Right.
Life is about war. That's how the Most High wants you to prove yourself. You're going to have to die before you sit there and do something that's against me. Under these heathens. They want you to do something that's against my law, you better choose death. Even though you're getting your back beat out. That's a father. He want to push you to the max. He want to bring the best out of you. Even if it's putting you through some of the worst experience that you feel as though in your life. He wants you to do that. That's just how the Most High is. Is that it on that scripture?
A little bit more, sir.
A little bit more. Read on.
Verse 42. Their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought into subjugation unto their hand.
Come on, man. It's still a shame that we got to read scriptures like this and break it down to you when it's happening before your eyes. We should be able to read scriptures like this and you know exactly what it means. This is happening before your eyes as of today.
Right.
During this pandemic and these riotings and lootings, you know how many ass whippings people court? How many racial profilings people in court? And they know it's happening because black people are more so understanding that most of the stuff that's happening to them now is because they're black. But yet I still gotta open up the Bible and read this. Read that again.
Their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought into subjugation unto their hand.
They're the same people you feel as though acting that way towards you because you're black is your enemy. Listen, thank God for Commanding General Yohana, man.
Right.
And the love he got for Israel to want to bring everybody in.
Right.
Because it's just some people who we understand is just not going to get it, but we still fight for you to get it. And that's love. We still fight for you to get this truth, and that's love. That's love. Point blank, period. You can't tell me anything different. I'm brainwashed, and it's whatever, what they want to say. You brainwashed in the code. Yup, I am.
Right.
It's just certain things that we just fight for that people didn't gave up on a long time ago. Why do you think these leaders take money? These leaders take money because they didn't give it up on you. They say, man, these niggas black on black crime and they want to worry about white killings and black and cop killings and everything. So they take the money because they didn't give it up on you a long time ago. ISUPK haven't gave up on you. That's why we don't take no money. We haven't taken any money.
Right.
We haven't sold out. Because we haven't given up on the nation of Israel. Right. Point blank, period. Waka Flocka was at one of the camps offering to send money to Indianapolis, offering to send money if we change the doctrine. And Indianapolis is still out there saying the same thing that made Waka Flocka say, I'll pay you to change your doctrine. You want to know why? Because we haven't given up.
Right.
we haven't given up. We haven't given up and say, forget it, we're going to teach the Immaculate Conception. You know, we're going to teach God love everybody because these niggas ain't going to get it. Regardless how hard-headed you are and how, you know, it kills us to know that some of y'all going to see death, we still try to make the Most High change his mind, and we still come out there and teach y'all.
Right.
When we could just say, we not going out there no more. Let them all die. We read the scripture, you don't get it, you can die. But we have classes for you to understand these scriptures so you don't die.
Right.
Read. I mean, go ahead. You had your hand up?
Yeah, I was going to say, bring up so heavy, sir. Pick up the captain, Kapaj.
Mm-hmm.
My flock went out there and was like, you know, y'all are my brother, but I'm just too militant. He's supposed to be hard to paint. Like,
hard in the paint, nigga. Leave you stinking, but you too militant.
Right.
Because he ain't know what militant was until he seen us.
Right.
Nobody know what righteousness is. Right. They don't know what keeping the law is. They don't know what brotherhood is until they see us. We change the perspectives of everyone on the face of the earth, no matter your status. No matter your status. When these laws get changed, it's because of us, no matter your status. We change everything you question and believe on the face of this earth. You think you're going hard in the paint until you run into some niggas who standing out on the street telling white people they are going into slavery. You start questioning your gangster.
Right.
God damn, y'all gotta stop saying that. I don't want y'all to die. Listen, I'll give y'all money if y'all stop. Just don't say that. Nah, nigga, you got the wrong people to offer some money to. Is there any more in that scripture?
Verse 43. Many times he delivered them, but they provoked him with their counsel.
Listen, he delivered Israel and he provoked him with their counsel. Read.
And were brought low for their iniquity.
And they was brought low to a low state, just brought lower than everyone because of the sins they commit, which is all the time. Anytime Israel do some evil, wickedness, the Most High bring us low. Read.
Nevertheless, he regarded their affliction when he heard their cry, and he remembered for them his covenant, and repented according to the multitude of his mercies.
Mm-hmm.
He made them also to be pitied of all those carried them captive. Save us, O Lord our God, and gather us from among the heathen, to give thanks unto his holy name, and to triumph in thy praise.
Listen, why didn't we say, show us the way amongst the heathens? We said, gather us from amongst the heathens, because we understood living with the heathens is part of the reason why we in this situation. We're going to start following their customs and their traditions because they're going to do everything we like to do, but we know we can't do it because it's a sin. So we know, listen, we can't live amongst these people. If we live amongst these people, the Most High is going to continue to keep this punishment amongst us. So listen, let's pray that the Most High deliver us out of their hand. Let's pray that he take us out of this land and bring us into another where we can do what he tell us to do to start living right. Is there any more?
Verse 48, blessed be the Lord God of Israel from everlasting to everlasting, and let all the people say amen and praise you the Most High.
Praise you the Most High. Most High Christ. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 16. And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, and God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Read.
Verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord.
The Most High just let you know you're going to be a God and he's going to be with you. You are a temple of the Most High, but the only way to get that is to what?
And be ye separate, saith the Lord.
Be ye separate. Separate from who and from what? All the uncleanness and the heathens out there that you living amongst. Do me a favor. Pull up Kendrick Perkins, right? Interview on Kevin Durant. Pull that up. Kendrick Perkins, the interview on Kevin Durant. Pull that up. This is why we should be separate. The Most High is saying, listen, in the agreement have the temple of God with idols, for ye are the temple of the living God. And God saith, I will dwell in them and walk with them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. But you got to separate. In the next scripture is telling you to separate. You want the Most High to be your God and you to be his people? Separate. Separate. Be holy. And we have a lack of understanding about separation. And that's why the ISUPK is here. The interview he had on ESPN on Kevin Durant.
You talk about the response to what Kyrie said?
Yep.
Ooh, I saw that.
I saw that. Listen. Play like, I think it's like the first, skip to like 15 seconds or something and let it play. I know what it is when I see it. We're gonna get into this because when I seen this, I said, "Listen, this is a perfect example of why we should separate."
A sellout on social media, along with posting
Fast
and
forward
shot
like
like
10
airballing
seconds.
a jumper. So
Oh, was that 15?
All right, fast forward to 10 seconds.
Go to the
Yeah, fast forward to 10 seconds from where you at now.
Black Lives Matter movement. As a result of this, Kevin Durant quickly responded by calling you a sellout on social media, along with posting and shot of you airballing a jumper. So Perf, I gotta ask you, what's your response?
Fast forward it a little bit. Just fast forward it 10 seconds from where we at now. Yeah, 15, fast forward it to like 25, 30 seconds.
Just because I don't agree with what Kyrie got going on, don't mean I'm.
Yeah,
How many more seconds?
like 10 more.
32.
All right.
But different opinion or disagree with someone else that's going about it another way. I actually applaud anybody that's fighting the fight right now in America. So that's the first thing first. Second of all, listen here. You don't know what I'm
He took a
going
deep
through right
breath
now in
before
my
he was about to
personal
say
life,
that.
fighting the
Read.
fight. I live in $1 million community. I'm fighting the fight every day in my own community. I'm the only African American family that live in this community, and my wife and I have to fight a fight with our home association and neighbors every day through email. So much that we're not even comfortable with having our kids go outside without supervision. You don't know what I'm going through for a spot.
Pause it and bring it back 7 seconds. He said he live in $1 million home and he's still fighting the fight with his community. And through emails and association. Play it.
Email so much that we're not even comfortable with having our kids go outside without supervision. You don't know what that live in this community, and my wife and I have to fight a fight with our home association and neighbors every day through email. So much that we're not even comfortable with having our kids go outside without supervision. You don't know what I'm going through for us fighting the fight when I have to drive my oldest son to middle school to go to his workouts, and I pull up and there's 70 kids out there and there's only 2 African Americans and he's one of them, and I gotta stay out there to make sure he okay, because just 4 days ago, 2 miles away from my house, they found the African American teenager hung dead at an elementary school. And I've been on
Let it play.
multiple platforms. I've used my social media to speak out since this first started. Oh, you can go look on my Twitter, you can go look on my Instagram or whatever. I done been on First Take, I done been on The Get Up, Hoop String, preaching out about Black Lives Matter and fighting the fight. I was one of the first ones to call out the NBA owners about speaking out and taking action on what's going on in America, followed up by a phone conversation an hour and a half long with Danny Ainge. So don't tell me nothing about being a sellout, because that ain't even for me and you, brother. Because you know what? Let me remind you something. The same sellout that's sitting right here, I remember this day like it was yesterday.
Pause.
May
Pause.
8th.
Did y'all hear everything this brother said, man? He lived in $1 million house in a rich community, but still have to fight with the neighbors and emails to his landlord association. He still got to drive his son to practice. Now, mind you, his son is going to football, basketball practice, whatever, around a bunch of other parents who have just as much money as he do. They all rich. His son is in a rich, good school and everything. And he still got to stand out there and watch his son. You got to watch your kids whether you're in the hood. You got to watch your kids whether you're in these rich communities. He got to stand out there and supervise his son because his son is the second black person that's on that sports team. That's on that sports team. So like, hey, show him low first. Wednesdays, I'm actually teaching now. Live. Kind of, I ain't about So with all the money he's making, he still got to watch his son because he's just one or two African-American kids that's out there on the field. Because just 5 days ago, while he's out there on the field with his son, 5 days before, a black person was hung not too far from where they're practicing at. Was hung. We'll let you know because every Negro goal is to get money and make it out the hood. Oh, that's fireworks. That's fireworks out here. Every Negro goal is to get money and make it out the hood. As if that's supposed to change anything. You can't escape these curses. These curses are going to happen regardless. These curses are going to happen no matter. If you was on the moon, you would still suffer from high blood pressure and diabetes because there's no way to escape the Most High curse. The Most High curse is not based on what land you or where you live at. It's based on who you are. And if you're the children of Israel, you can't escape these curses. That's why he lived in $1 million home and still have to worry about the life of his kids. Come on, man. Let's close out with give me Isaiah chapter 5, verse 8.
The book of Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field.
Join house to house. Woe unto them. He thought because he got $1 million house out somewhere, he was safe and his kids were safe. Let's raise our kids out here in this community, in this area. He thought he was safe. The Most High say destruction unto you too. House to house and field to field. Your house is joined unto them. Your field and your work is joined unto them. Woe unto you too. Read.
Till there be no place that be placed alone in the midst of the earth.
That goes on to what I was saying, man. There's nowhere you can go to get away from these curses. No matter where you place place your house at, no matter where you lay your head at, is going to be curses. You're going to have to deal with something. Read.
Verse 9. In my ear saith the Lord of hosts, of a truth many houses shall be desolate, and even great and fair without inhabitant.
Many houses shall be desolate. Many houses shall be destroyed, man. The Most High is telling you, man. You can move out the hood all you want and think that's going to make a difference. Or you could end up like Michael Jordan, where his father died in the hood. Serena Williams, her sister, died in the hood. But these are billionaires. The Most High is not going to let you escape a plague or a curse because where you live or your status. The Most High don't care about that. You know, the Most High don't care about that. And we've been saying that all along. Let me get a time check.
Time check, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, and with that, we're going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Yediah.
The priest and officer, 1,000 Dayala, strong hand. That being said, we are the ISUPK. We are out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come to the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to test themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a particular after 6 months, which the brother and sister will, after 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother and sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry, tied to the commandment. You can read about this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase of the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department. Priest funds we will offer for the priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give, I'll become a holy convocation. As you know, it's the Passover, which is still postponed. Keep up with Commander General Yohana on Black Watch and the weekly videos that he drops. Now, we also have the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. The first day of the 7th month, Thursday, September 17th, 2020. And you can read about that in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 24 through 25. Remind no Akim and Akwaf to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother was to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boot, shirt, headband, and scarf. And with that, I admire them when we stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amanu Shabbat, Admaju, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Barak Atham, Yahweh, class dismissed.